I don't know how you see this, Will, but it's. I think Chelsea fans shouldn't be panicking. But this idea that, oh my God, my owners are brilliant, look what they just did, I think that's too far. I think that's too far-fetched.
Yeah, I think, people, they're saying that Chelsea are overachieving because they're sitting 7th right now. I don't think that they're overachieving. I think that Chelsea are failing because you don't spend that much money to finish that low on the table. So for me, they are failing at the moment, but I don't think that Chelsea are as bad as everybody's trying to make them out to be. I think that they do have quality players in that side. And I always say that I think that they're the right manager away from being back in top 4. And even if you look at how shit they were this season, they still went to Wembley twice. They were in the Carabao Cup final, and then they should have beat Man City in the FA Cup semifinal, if we're going to be honest. But they just don't have anybody to put away their chances. And then in terms of what Todd Bowley's doing, I know that, there's that stigma of Americans and that they don't care about the sport. They just want to own the clubs to make money. I think he does care about the club because then I don't believe that you make that much investment into something that you do not really care about. Maybe the way that they did it was a bit dodgy, but I don't really see any issue with it because it's all about trying to gain an advantage. And they found a loophole in the system that other clubs were not aware of. But I think what Chelsea need to do this summer, they got to get rid of some of these players. And I think they only need really another striker. Maybe you could say a left back and a goalkeeper. But aside from that, yeah, true, a center back. I mean, what's happening with Wesley Fofana? Because I mean, look, I know that he's been injured. Yeah, but I think that he's a good player, right? They have quality in that side. It's just they just need the right manager. I don't know if it's Pochettino. I don't know if it's somebody else. I know that whoever's available, though, it's not really that many names that jump out to you where you're like, yeah, we got to go get this guy. So I think Man United's terrible form the last few weeks, and then Chelsea's good form has saved him. And I know that you brought up about Pochettino having weird comments in the media. I think he should be under pressure, but I think he's done enough to keep his job for at least one more season. And then just real quick, I did want to say when they played Nottingham Forest over the weekend, I think Nicholas Jackson is a disgrace, bro. You score in the 81st minute and then you go run and jump into the crowd like you just bagged the league or you won Champions League final. Come on, bro. You're playing Nottingham Forest to stay 7th. Congratulations.
Okay, you know what?
It's a big club.
No, I want to be fair. I want to be fair.
Hey, let the man celebrate. Let the man celebrate the way he wants to celebrate.
Bro, you jump into the crowd.
No, listen. Will. People have been knocking that guy. People have been knocking him all season. Oh, he's not a goal scorer. He's not bad, and his confidence is low. He misses easy chances in front of the goal. He finally gets that, his confidence is up. That's a confidence booster for him as an individual. Allow the man celebrate. We are not the celebration police, and anybody, and I will stop anybody who says anybody shouldn't celebrate because if it's my team, because if it's my team and my players 100%. Decide to do that and you come for them, I will come for you.
Literally, the only time
that's small mentality. You went from 7th to 7th. It's not about the 81st minute against Nottingham Forest. You're going to jump into the crowd and lose your mind like that. You
only play who's in front of you, right? It doesn't matter who the person is. If they want to bring a high school team and I score against you and my team score and they celebrate, let them celebrate. The reason you're playing is to enjoy the game and be able to celebrate. We will not do this. We will not turn into mainstream media that will sit here.
I think the only time that
when to celebrate and when not to celebrate.
I think the only time that celebration police is valid is if a team scores an equalizer against the likes of Nottingham Forest and they do that type of celebration. But otherwise, a winner's a winner. You can't. They
came back.
I'm not. That's what I mean. I'm saying that it count. He scored a winner. It was a goal. It was the goal.
It's a winner.
In the head, isn't it? So you can't even
There's only one instance a team should never celebrate. And that is if you play a championship team in a semi-final, you're winning 3-0, and they come back and to make it 3-3, and you win on penalties. That's the only time celebration police should be out. Other than that, let people celebrate.
I get you. Will when you say that it's bad mentality, etc.
Yeah.
Football clubs that are not necessarily scoring the winning goal in the game to win a trophy or to go first in the league have been celebrating winners in that sort of manner for over 100 years in our sport. Why should it change now?
Because you went from 7th to 7th. You're struggling to beat Nottingham Forest, right? It took a late-minute winner to get that. And now you're going to... I'm not saying not celebrate, period. You should just walk off. But I'm saying how he celebrated, I think, was disgraceful. You're going to go run and jump into the crowd like you just won the league or you won a trophy. Come on now. That's my main thing. What's different from... wait, what's different from when, like, let's say how, because I've heard plenty of United fans get on Rasmus Højlund about how he celebrates in kind of situations where it's like, you got to understand the situation that's going on. Like when he scored the winning penalty against Coventry and he going to go to like the crowd and he's giving it like all that. And the United players are just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro.
I can talk about, okay, that instance in particular, he's a Man United fan. It's his dream to send his club that he loves to a final. And he did that. So let the guys celebrate. The rest of the Anthony's the only one can get smoke because what he did was disgraceful. But other than that, I get Rasmus Højlund celebrating. On Jackson, you also got to remember what Dario was saying is correct. The fans have been on his back. The fans have been ridiculing him, like abusing him as well throughout the season. Those moments right there, even though it takes you from 7th to 7th, even though it's from against Nottingham Forest, those moments right there is what players can do to endear themselves to your fan base. Because let's be honest, you're a Real Madrid fan, so you guys can get away with abusing your players and your players just respond and get better. But most football clubs, most football players are not in that position where fans being on your back makes you better. It doesn't. Most players crumble. Most players become flops by doing that. So those little moments there will endear the fans to him, get him more support, give him more confidence, and probably perform better. That's why I don't think it's
scoring the winning goal, regardless of the team that you're playing. I don't like this idea that Nottingham Forest. Look, we saw Man City struggle against the same Nottingham Forest. We saw the great Man City struggle against them. So I don't like.
The only thing I'd say is
Man City are in a title race. It's Nottingham Forest, whatever it is. He scored a winning goal, and scoring a goal is a happy moment. That's something that you react to spontaneously when you do it. So if he reacts that way and the fans jump with him. We didn't see the fans go, get away from here. We don't want you here. No, they jump with him. So let the man celebrate the way he wants to, man.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting point. I think when you're sitting at home watching it, like a lot of us do, and again, I think it depends upon the club. And I'll be honest with you, Will, you can't look at every other club through a Real Madrid lens because you're looking for a very specialized club, a very different team altogether. I guarantee you Real Madrid fans and clubs' mentality would be different if they spent a decade or 2 decades or 3 decades in the doldrums. And I mean, coming 5th, 6th, 7th, not winning trophies, problems like that. The mindset would change, especially of a new generation that we're not used to the winning. You're just a phenomenal football club, Real Madrid, who have impeccably, by the way, kept themselves at the very highest standards forever and a day. And I think that's a testament to you, which is why you're considered really and truly the biggest club in the world.
Wait, but Terry, I look at it just from a big club's perspective. Now, if you played for Wolverhampton and they scored that goal to win the game, 81st minute, all right, you want to jump into the crowd, fair enough. Chelsea are a big club. Man United are a big club. Arsenal, all these teams. So I get it. You're saying, okay, well, from a Real Madrid fan's perspective, it's like, yeah, it's shameful. But I think just from a big club perspective in general, it's kind of like you guys have underperformed all season. You haven't played well. You haven't really been scoring your chance. Well, you haven't been taking your chances if you're Jackson. My thing is, I'm not saying not to celebrate. I think you should celebrate every goal. But I just think it's how he celebrated. That's my only issue. So
again, I was going to get to that point, but I appreciate what you're saying. I think I understand where you're coming from with the big club mentality. But back to what I was just trying to come around to is that when you're in that stadium, it's different from watching at home. And I'm not someone that thinks match-going fans love their clubs more than non-match-going fans. I don't make that claim. But it's a different feeling being at a stadium watching a football match, especially an away game, to watching it on TV. I've been very fortunate enough to be at home games, away games, and watch on television. And the emotion, the atmosphere, the noise, euphoria in that moment sometimes leads to you celebrating in ways. Footballers have admitted sometimes they've celebrated, and when they've watched it back, they felt embarrassed. Not because of why they celebrated, but the type of celebration, what they did, etc. But it's that moment, it's that noise, like they're responding to everything that's going on around them. When you're watching at home, especially if it isn't your team, I think it's a hard thing to sometimes. I get where you're coming from. I do get your point. It holds water, but I don't necessarily think it's as simple as that for footballers that are in that moment, living it at that time, where the goal goes in, the crowd goes up, because he was running towards the crowd. My opinion is this: he's running towards the crowd, celebrating in the way in which you'd probably say acceptable, but then based on the noise and the euphoria and the way they're jumping towards him, it brought something else out of him. We must have all been in situations most of us probably not a professional sports level, might be a party that you're at and the atmosphere gets up and then you all start doing and saying things that are a little bit over the top. Then someone might get hurt or get off the table dancing, but you do it because in the moment, it's what everybody's doing. And I think that you can't sometimes, if you look at it from the outside in, you go, oh, why are those idiots dancing on the bar in that nightclub? But you know what? It's because it's what was happening at that moment in time. Ibiza was amazing, by the way, people. But it's just, I just think sometimes you can get dragged into the moment. That's all.
Yeah, and then just like last thing before we can move on or somebody else talks. It was good to see Reece James back because I think that guy is quality. To me, he's the best right back in the world when he's fully healthy. And I think the only reason that he's not at another level in terms of just as a player is because of his body. It just always fails him. But it was a good game though.
It was a good game. Best in the world. Better than Trent, in your opinion?
Way better than Trent because Trent can't defend. He's only good going forward. I don't really think Reece James has that many weaknesses. Like Reece James can defend. He can hold his own. If he doesn't go
it is though, Will. Yeah, I feel like one thing. I think Terry said this before. Many people have as well. Is the best ability is availability. If you're not available enough, you just can't be considered world class. And I agree with you. I think all round much better. I think he's a better player than Trent because he has it going back. He has it going forward. All round play is just, for me, so good, but he plays about 15 games a season, if even that. So you can't even consider him world class because he's not even playing enough games. He's not having an impact on the team on a high enough level. So I feel like it's a claim that you have to make once he's actually playing enough football. Because like you said, his body lets him down. What's to stop us from saying that his body's not going to continue letting him down? Because 3-4 seasons into the Premier League, his body's let him down every single year. I think the most games he's played in a season is around 20 to 25 league games.
And it's clear, like George, you're right. It's clear that he has the talent, but the truth is the reason his body is breaking down is because he's not strong enough. It is what it is. So you might have all the talent in the world, and if your body is one of the things that Trent has been injured this season, maybe for a few games now, but Trent is always almost available for you to use. So if you're not available, I don't care how good you are. I can't call you the best in the world because you're not available to prove it. The best in the world do it consistently and committedly. Consistently. The best in the world have to be consistent. There's no consistency enough for me to say Reece James is the best in the world. Kyle Walker has played more games consistently than Reece James. Even if Reece James is the better player all round than Kyle Walker, he hasn't proved it to me yet. Because part of being the best is for you to be there consistently. So here.
Yeah, but guys, but pure footballing ability. Surely Trent is better than pure footballing ability, guys. Surely Trent.
I think AJ, you need Don here to have that conversation. It's not.
I agree with Will's in terms of if availability wasn't in question. I said years ago, I said it on Friday night on the Terrace, I would take Reece James over Trent because I think going forward, Reece James is very, very good. Defensively, I think he's better. I think he's an excellent player. And it was good to see him back, but I just listen, Chelsea fans love him to bits, and I get it. But I think he's one more bad hand. If his hamstring goes again, they got to cash in, and I think they should maybe consider cashing in on him now.
I'll take him.
Yeah, Real Madrid are linked. Would you take a risk on his body?
Yeah, look, bro, it's all about maybe he just needs a change of scenery. Maybe like the Chelsea doctors are just terrible. I mean, look at Ousmane Dembele. This guy used to yawn when he woke up and then missed like 4 weeks. So he's at PSG. I think he's played most of this season. Maybe that's just what it is. I would take Reece James right now at Real Madrid over Trent. But I get why we're looking at Trent before him, though, because his contract runs out in a year. So you'll probably get him for like a cheap deal, or you might get him on a free. So it makes more sense. I think Reece has like 4 more years left on his contract, so he'll cost more, but he's just a better player when you compare the two.
I agree with the environment thing.
I hear you on that. This here super chat says, I'm slightly worried about the training ground. At least the fans own the bridge. Yeah, someone put that in, that Chelsea fans own the bridge. So they can't actually sell the stadium, which is true.
I think they actually own the pitch, like the grass on the pitch. They don't own the stadium. They own the grass, the pitch of the stadium.
Yes, I mean, they'll sell what's around it. Like they just listen.
It's owned by their CL or something.
In Chelsea, Terry, I think Bowley thinks of Chelsea now as a second project and is leaving it to Egbali. especially with how his stint as director of football went and the Dodgers being so popular now. He's just paid $1.2 billion in 3 months for 3 players, which is huge. I don't know much about what he does in the States, to be fair, but breaking news actually on all this from Matt Law is that Chelsea sporting directors Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart retain the enthusiastic backing of prominent board members ahead of next week's end of season review. So, I mean, those are the guys that signed all those players, and they're being backed. So, look, read into that whatever it is you will. Aya here says the issue with modern day Standard FC fans is that they're
They're quite toxic. They're quite toxic.
There we go. My dyslexic brain tried to read the word because they're overly emotional and don't even realize that they are. They only apply context when it suits them. I mean, listen, I think Standard FC, everyone, I don't know. I like listening to other people's views on football, but it's interesting indeed. As a Chelsea fan from Texas, I wanted to be there celebrating with him after finishing off a game-winning chance, assisted by our captain, who has been out all season. It's a weird one. I mean, there was a very famous game. I'd love to get Will's opinion on this, right? So there's a very famous game. I'm going to say this was it's between 2001 and 2004. And Man United were playing Aston Villa away in the FA Cup, not to reach the final, but just in, I think, the 3rd or 4th round. And we were 2-0 down with 10 minutes to go. And we scored 3 goals in the last 10 minutes to make the next round. Fans invaded the pitch in euphoria. Would you say that that's an embarrassing moment and celebration?
I feel like you cut out for me, Terry, just now.
Oh, okay. No, I'm saying that I'd love to get your take on this. So,
yeah,
there's a famous FA Cup game about 20 years ago where Manchester United were 2-0 down away from home to Aston Villa, and someone's got really loud noise in their background. I don't know where that's coming from.
Yeah, I think that might be me. That might be me.
Okay, cool.
Like my neighbors like cutting their grass or something. I can mute my mic though.
And what happened in that game is that United were 2-0 down. In the last 10-15 minutes, we scored 3 goals and went through. Players jumped into the crowd. Some fans even invaded the pitch. It was a crazy moment. It wasn't to win the trophy or go to the final, but would you say that is an embarrassing celebration from your perspective?
Nah, because you get to advance in a cup competition. So I think it's a little bit different. I still would say you shouldn't celebrate like that, though. But I think it's a bit of a different situation than just you staying in 7th place in the league. I mean, and yeah, like so.
No,
I get a little different.
I just want to throw it out there. I'm just thinking back to some mad celebrations I've seen.
But Will, what you're doing is you're equating what he did with just the position of the team on the table. That's one thing. His goal and that very moment, in that very second, based on his confidence, what fans have been saying about him and the way he felt, is a different feeling. That's what we're talking about. Like, him celebrating is not because he thinks, oh, this goal that I scored is taking us from 7th to 4th. He's not thinking of that. He's just in the moment, like, you know what? I finally scored. Like, I did it again. Like, I need to get better. Like, the crowd is like, hey, he loses his mind. That's a normal thing. I think
so. He scored. Wait, so he celebrated because he found his level against Nottingham Forest.
No, not because he found his level against. Listen, you see, this is why. You're choosing to hear it that way because you can only play the team that they put in front of you, and if that team beats them, you'll be right there saying, look at how useless they are. Nottingham Forest beat them. And then he finally puts a goal in the last minute and celebrates. And we want to sit here as fans and tell people exactly how to celebrate or how not to celebrate. Or they're over celebrating or they're just under celebrating because their team did not move from 7th position. Or they should not over celebrate because he found his form against Nottingham Forest. If it was against Man City, is it okay for him to celebrate that way? Because it's Nottingham Forest? It doesn't make any sense. When the guy celebrated.
When Tottenham beat Sheffield United, we scored in the 101st minute. And it was, I think it was Kulusevski got the winner. Is it over celebrating the players bringing out their kids onto the pitch and doing a lap of honor against bottom of the league?
Yeah, that is.
No, the reason why they did the lap of honor is because they know what they're going to go through on Tuesday. Because they're going to throw it in.
This was in George,
September.
Oh, September. I thought you were talking about this past
this is in September.